I'm Georgina Hall, and this is the Female Empowered Podcast, inspired by the casual conversations I've had with thousands of women over my career in coaching. This is not just another wanky women's wellness podcast. We are bringing the uprising. Hi friends, welcome to the Female Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Georgina Hall, personal trainer, online coach, and offerer of opinions. Today I am talking to Nicola Jane, who is an MNU certified nutritionist, emotional eating, and well-being coach. Hello, Nicola.
Hi, Georgina. So nice to be here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting to me.
Very welcome.
That's quite a title, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Quite a mouthful.
Emotional eating well-being coach.
Yes.
Tell me what that means, Nicola.
It means that I will help people who do struggle with emotional overeating and just general well-being tips, like just helping people feel better within themselves, and so they don't feel like they need to do things like self-sabotaging behaviors like emotional eating.
Oh, okay, emotional eating is a big thing as well, and especially with lockdown, take two happening at the moment. A lot of my clients have been struggling with emotional eating. So if we can talk about that, what leads us to emotional eating, what we can do about it, how we can recognize it, and how we can stop it, maybe.
Yeah, sounds good.
So what leads us to emotional eat?
So it's kind of in what it sounds like. So it's our emotions. So it's having certain feelings, and sometimes we can't deal with those feelings, or they might be hard to deal with. So we look for things that will provide us comfort because we don't want to sort of experience that feeling. So if you're feeling anxious, obviously it's quite a hard emotion to deal with. So you will look for things to provide comfort. And sometimes people, look for other things, but sometimes people look for things like food because it's quite a nice one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's not the same as heroin or nailing a bottle of vodka. It's a more socially accepted coping mechanism, isn't it?
It is. And cake is quite nice, isn't it?
Cake is delicious. Absolutely. So I guess at the moment people are struggling with a lot of these things. Anxiety, loneliness is a big one. People who live by themselves. So what can we do if we're sitting on a night time and we're feeling a little bit lonely, but we maybe don't recognize that even, and you might just be sat watching the telly, you get a packet of biscuits out, eat one biscuit, second biscuit, before you know it, you've had 3/4 of a pack of biscuits, and then you think, shit, oh my God, why have I done that? I hate myself. I'm fat and lonely. What do you do, Nicola?
I think a lot of it is being compassionate with yourself and realizing sometimes that's absolutely fine. It's fine. Food is supposed to be comforting as well. Just not beating yourself up when you do that.
Let's just really emphasize that point. Mm-hmm. Sometimes emotional eating is fine.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people have such a bad thing about it, but I think the difference is when you are numbing feelings with food rather than using it as a form of comfort, because food is comfort. Food is social. Food is lots of things. It's not just fuel for your body. But the difference is when you are sort of in that autopilot and not even thinking when you're eating, or when you're just constantly numbing those feelings. So I think that's the difference between the two. But yeah, sometimes it's fine.
How can we stop before it happens so that we don't do it if we actually don't want to?
Yeah, so I think that's a really big important thing to think about. And I think it's about cultivating the awareness. So helping yourself become more aware. So practicing things like mindful eating, meditation can help with awareness, just going out and walking and just building that awareness within yourself so that you can catch yourself when you are doing that. And then when you're in that position, just realizing, coming back to the present moment and just asking yourself, is this actually what I want to do right now? Just sometimes I just ask myself out loud, am I actually hungry? Or just ask myself, what am I feeling right now? What is it I actually need? Do I need this food, or do I actually just need a hug?
Yeah, my brother, when we've had chats, he's a therapist, and he says ask yourself out loud is a really good technique to deal with these things. Yeah, you get to the snack cupboard, do I actually want to eat a
Yeah.
full bag of crisps, or is there something else I could be doing instead?
Yeah, and just like when you're at that point as well, just thinking about, right, how am I going to feel after? Is this going to make me feel worse? Is this towards my goals? Just making that conscious decision, because at the end of the day, you have like two paths to choose from. You can either go down that road, and sometimes you will. It's about not having that perfectionism on yourself as well. Sometimes you'll just choose to do it. But you can make that choice, and it's about knowing that you are in control at the end of the day. If you do go down that road, you'll probably reinforce those habits, but you can make another choice and another habit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that if you have said out loud and you do choose to have the snack, the biscuit, the crisp, whatever it is, I
Yeah.
guess the fact that you've then consciously chosen to do it can help to relieve any feelings of guilt and stuff afterwards.
Exactly, because you've made that decision, and just realizing, yeah, it's okay to do that. Sometimes you are in control, and that's fine. And I think it's about having that sense of self-control as well, and empowerment, that you can just do what you want.
Yeah, definitely. And also, have you ever had those Lotus Biscoff cookies?
I've never tried those. They look good.
Well,
I've
they're
seen.
absolutely delicious, and there's absolutely no need to feel guilty about nailing half a packet of those.
Definitely not.
So is it the same thing if we're eating out of boredom?
Mhm. So yeah, I think feelings of boredom are again another sort of feeling, and it is a way of sort of masking that feeling and thinking, oh, what can help me with this boredom as well. So again, it's about looking and asking yourself, what is it I really need right now? I'm bored. Do I want to eat? Sometimes you might think, yeah, I do want to eat, or sometimes you might be like, I'm just going to call my best friend. I'm going to listen to a podcast today. I'm going to watch something instead to sort of relieve that boredom as well.
Yeah. Um, I guess sometimes it's habit, isn't it, as well? And if we just can change that habit,
Yeah.
if we can ring a friend or we can, maybe I sometimes suggest, because a lot of people start eating on an evening if they're maybe watching the TV or watching a film. And sometimes I'll have a sleepy tea because I'm a nana. But it's like a habit that I can get into where I've got something a little bit sweet after my dinner. And it keeps my hand occupied almost, and it's quite comforting on a night time when you just start watching the telly.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it's just a habit you have, and like that's fine. But you can, if you do want to create another habit, you could do something else instead. Swap it for something else or whatever.
Yeah, ask yourself, does this habit benefit me? What is the motivation behind the habit? Is there something more productive that I could be doing for myself?
Because all habits are, they're just patterns that you've formed, and if you keep creating that pattern, it's going to ingrain it more. But you can
Mm.
choose other habits as well. Sometimes it is hard if you do have a habit that's very like ingrained into your mind, so you're going to have to unlearn that. But it's about as well not having that perfectionism on yourself, realizing it's not easy sometimes, and you don't have to be perfect and completely rule out that habit straight away. Just like sometimes choose something different, it'll help you sort of rewire that.
Absolutely. And a few people are struggling at the moment. I asked my clients for questions for you before we recorded today. And I would say over 50% of the questions were something around routine and
Yeah.
people using food to break up their routine. So they might have worked all day from home in the same
Yeah.
space that they live in.
Hmm.
And they might have eaten clean and they might have had their set meal times. Then suddenly they finish work and eating somehow becomes the thing that breaks up the day from work to social time.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what you said there about like clean eating, I think that's like important, because the language we use around food can almost make it seem like an all or nothing thing with food.
Yeah.
Um, I think we need to look at that and think, do I need to be clean all the way through the day? Or can I just allow myself to have a bit more leeway? And then
And is chocolate really dirty?
exactly what, like, there is no good and bad foods at the end of the day, it's just food. But sometimes if we have that all or nothing approach to food, then we do be like, oh, I'll be really clean, and then, oh, right, okay, now I can do what I want with food, sort of thing.
It's that binge restrict cycle, isn't it?
It's a vicious cycle, that one.
So if you have told yourself that through the day while you're at work, you're allowed fruit for breakfast, a salad for lunch, and a little snack of nuts, then by the time you go, when I walk into my house, that's a place where I can eat anything. Guess what? You will eat anything.
Yeah, you will. Like any kind of restriction leads to binging. So if you're not restricting, it's honestly crazy. Like, because I used to do it as well. Like I'm an ex binge eater, and I would, if I told myself I couldn't have something, that automatically that is literally all I wanted. And
well, Nicola, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant right now. Do not think about it. Stop it.
I can't. It's there.
Yeah, you can't stop thinking about the elephant, man.
Can't. But yeah.
So what happens when you say, I'm not allowed cake?
Yeah, that's
cake. Cake.
Yeah. And when you just start allowing yourself, like, because at first when someone told me that, I was like, don't be silly. If I'm going to allow myself this, I'm just going to go wild. But I mean, maybe the first day you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to have it all. But then after that, you're just like, well, I know I can have it anytime I want. So I'm not really that bothered. I'll have it when I actually want it, you know?
Yeah. You did your nutrition course with Mcdonald, right?
Yeah.
And we went to see him talk together, didn't we, at the Crown Plaza in Newcastle? And one of his things that he'd done with his clients, he had a client who ate chocolate hobnobs all the time, and they wanted to get out of the habit of eating chocolate hobnobs because they were just nailing packets of them. And he said to them, right, I've done your diet plan. On the first day, you've got to eat a full packet of chocolate hobnobs. And they were like, what the fuck? Like, I can't eat a full packet. He was like, that's on your diet plan. Eat a full packet of chocolate hobnobs. Yeah. Guess what? Second day, they weren't so keen on the chocolate hobnobs.
No. That's what I do with my clients as well. Like they'll say that they're avoiding certain foods, and I'll be like, right, well, now we're going to try and rewire in that you're going to have those foods in little amounts. And they're like, no, I can't, I'll go wild. And they just don't. They start realizing, oh, actually, I can't just have one biscuit. I don't need to have a whole packet.
Yeah, I can have it anytime I want.
Yeah. Not important for that, yeah.
That's definitely important, because sometimes I have chocolate in the cupboard for weeks, months, because I know that it's there and I know that I can have it if I want. But if I get into the habit of thinking, right, I'm not going to get anything in because I can't have it, then I make a special trip to the shop.
You do, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I will seek out that thing that I have not bought.
Yeah, I think that's important, yeah, because some coaches just say, don't have it in the house. But I think that's not tackling the real problem at the end of the day. Like, it is hard at first, but suddenly you will realize it's in the cupboard, and that's fine. But it is getting into that. It is hard at first, but yeah.
I think it leads to self-trust as well, doesn't it? So by telling yourself that you're not going to do something and then inevitably failing at it, you've just broken down trust with yourself. And the most important thing you can do is build up the trust. If you say, oh, I can't have just one biscuit, I always eat the full packet, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas if you say, I'm only going to have 2 biscuits, and then you keep that promise to yourself, you've just built up your self-trust, and there's something quite empowering about that.
It is. It's like setting a little boundary with yourself. It's like, yes, I've said no, and it makes you feel empowered. And I think that's a good thing to think about as well. If you do want to create a new habit, once you do it, right, really big yourself up as well, because you're gonna want to do that again, and it's gonna help you. I'm like proper like buzzing with myself when I do something.
Yeah, me too.
Good, and it helps you just reinforce that habit because you feel good, don't you? Like,
yeah, big yourself up. I always tell my clients, because we've got a client Facebook group, and I say, if you have a small win, doesn't matter how small it is, if you hit your steps, if you get up when your alarm goes off, if you get a workout done in the morning, if you say no to a second piece of cake, say, whatever it is, no matter how small you think it is, you drink enough water in the day, write that in the Facebook group at the end of the day, because then you've got nearly 200 people who go, well done, Nicola. Good work on getting your steps today. Go on. And you're like, yes, nice one. And guess what? You're going to do that again the next day.
Like that, like that Pavlov with the dogs and stuff. It's like, it like makes you want to do it again, because you're like, yes, I've done it now.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So do we think, so now that we've gone a little bit deeper and we're talking about self-trust, self-worth now, what do you think about the effects of who we follow, say, on social media, on our relationships with food and our weight and ourselves?
I think it's so important. Like, it's like, your diet is not just what you're eating, it's what you're consuming, what you're listening to, what you're looking at. And yeah, you want to be following people who are, with the same values as you and who are making you feel good and not making you feel bad for eating like a cake or whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially in this lockdown land, like I spend so much time on social media for my job, and I'm just seeing trainers and gym bunnies who are going, you can still train every day in lockdown. If you're not training, then you don't want it enough, and you don't need to eat shit just because you're in lockdown. Well, guess what? I'm anxious as fuck. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. I want a biscuit and a cup of coffee just to make us feel warm inside.
I know, yeah, no, it is. Again, it's about having that like compassion with yourself, and yeah, those people can make you feel so pressured, and again, they can trigger those feelings of guilt as well, which are going to reinforce the cycle again. Yeah, I've like unfollowed so many people during like lockdown because you are spending so much more time scrolling, so you want to be in a good place with that as well.
I have to be honest, sometimes, Nicola, I follow these jerks just so that when they post something like that, I can then make a counter piece of content.
I like that.
Yeah, I sometimes use it. I use the evil to fuel the
Well, it's
positivity.
good though because you're showing like a different point of view, and people need that sometimes. They need to be challenged on these things, don't they?
Yeah, especially because you don't know what anyone else's situation is. The 25-year-old guy who's telling you that you don't want it enough because you're not training doesn't have 3 kids to look after, take to different schools in the morning, prepare 3-pack lunches, I don't know, work from home, homeschool, try and keep
Yeah.
a relationship going. He just has to train.
Exactly, like everyone has different lifestyles, and if you compare yourself to someone else who literally has nothing else to do, of course you're going to feel bad because you'd be like, well, they're doing all this, but yeah, they don't have all these other things going on as well that they also need to do.
Yeah, that's why I don't tell anybody what I eat. I
Mm,
very rarely, well, people probably just think that I live on cake if they watch my social media, but I'd never put out like what I eat in a day
yeah,
because people take that as writ and they think, well, then that's what I'm going to eat in a day. But they don't know how many steps I do, how many times a week I train.
yeah,
Like, I don't have anyone else to cook for or look after.
yeah.
So I just
Again,
don't think
like
it's very
everyone,
helpful.
yeah, and everyone has different preferences as well, and sometimes people think, oh, that's what I should be eating because she's a personal trainer, but then they might try and eat that and they don't like it. But it's like, yeah, you can just eat towards your preferences. You don't have to eat the same as someone else.
Yeah. It was funny when about 10 years ago, I worked in this commercial gym, and one of the personal trainers there ate peanut butter on crumpets every single day. And she's absolutely stacked, but she
Yeah,
wasn't just feeding her body food, if you know what I mean.
yeah, maybe.
But, I mean, allegedly, I don't know. But because she ate peanut butter on crumpets every day, soon every woman, it was an all-women gym, every woman in there was eating peanut butter on crumpets every day. I was
Yeah.
like,
I know. I know. I was actually. I watched this personal trainer's story on Instagram not that long ago, and she was having like these massive breakfasts, and she was telling everyone to eat also these like massive 800-calorie breakfasts. And I just thought, no, because everyone has different requirements, don't, and they're going to go out and do that and think that that's what they need to do to look like
yeah,
her.
some people are only allowed 1,200 calories a day to, like, they may only be 5 foot, 1,200 calories a day, and they've just nailed an 800-calorie breakfast. It doesn't leave very much scope for your dinner, does it?
It really doesn't, but it's just yeah, people will. If you don't know, you might just take that as gospel, and like it's just yeah, it's not good information to follow.
So some people are talking about snacking during the day, working from home, and how can they curb that? I guess everyone's a lot closer to the fridge, aren't they, at the minute, if you're working from home rather than in the office?
Again, I think sometimes I think there can be this bad connotation towards snacking, but if you are hungry, like snacking is fine.
I
But
love
it's
snacks.
great. Like I've just had one.
Snacking's my favorite hobby.
But yeah, like sometimes people think, oh no, I shouldn't snack. But like we need snacks sometimes. Like we are hungry. But again,
Yeah.
I guess it comes back to that thing. Like if you are snacking out of pure boredom or for emotional reasons, just again asking yourself like, do I actually want a snack now, or do I actually just want to go and take a nap instead if I'm a bit tired, or do I actually want to text my friend back, or but I think like as well, just making sure you're having like enough meals that are filling you up as well, because you might just actually be hungry, or you might not have had like a really filling breakfast. So of course,
if you didn't have an 800-calorie breakfast.
Exactly. I mean, if you've only had a coffee, like, of course you're going to be hungry, have a snack. Again, like, you could do things if you do want to eat more filling breakfasts, you could have something higher in protein, or, more fibrous like oats or something like that, which will keep you fuller for longer. So you're probably less likely to snack on those things.
It's knowledge is power as well, isn't it? So if you're aware about your energy needs, if you know how many calories you require, and you have counted them for a period so that you know kind of how many calories you have for your breakfast, how many you have for your lunch, how many you have for your dinner, and then suddenly you become aware, actually, I've got 600 calories left in my day that my body requires. Suddenly you've got 600 calories worth of snacks, and what a day to be alive that is.
I know. So good when you have like loads of calories left for the day.
Oh, I'll be getting the mini saurines out, thank you. Have you had the mini saurines?
You know what, I've seen a lot of people post them, but I need to try them.
Mate, you need to get on it. They're so good. I highly recommend the banana ones in particular, are my favourite, but they've done a special Halloween range like toffee apple and chocolate orange. Oh, God. I've just got them in every flavour in my snack tin.
I'm excited for all the Christmas drinks to come out. They're going to be like my favourite snacks.
Christmas what?
Drinks, like the toffee nut lattes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Some of them have already come out and I'm yet to try them. I did have a gingerbread latte the other day, which was delicious.
Nice.
I would like to read somebody's question out to you.
That's fine, yeah.
Because I think they've written it a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and it's quite funny, but it's also inherently sad. So the two of us can work through this together.
Sounds good.
When I get in from work, I'm starving because she doesn't have time to eat during the day at work because of a crap timetable.
Okay.
But I know I use my food to unwind. I think I've adopted the mindset that food symbolizes that I can relax and my day is over. I guess as one would with a glass of wine at the end of the day. I don't really drink unless I'm out to get hammered, go hard and go home. We don't advocate that either, do we not, Nicola?
No.
All things in moderation. I think that 10 minutes of pure endorphin release when I get in and have my tea is like my own blend of heroin. And she's asked, is that too far? Are there any tips to change this cycle of self-sabotage?
So what I would say with that is again, it's look for, if you could use food, or you could do something else that makes you feel good when you get in.
I guess the point is that she's starving, isn't she? So what I was thinking initially, because you need to curb that starvation, is put some snacks in your car.
Yeah, have some protein bars that are great and really filling. Keep yourself fuller throughout the day.
Yeah. So if you've literally got no time to eat during the day, like literally none, one, keep on top of your water. Yeah, you could even take a protein shake to work, couldn't you? Because if you can carry around a bottle of water, why not take a shake?
Look for some things if you don't have a lot of time, look for quick things that are easy and they are going to keep you full and keep your energy up and stuff.
Yeah, something that you don't have to cook or prep or mess about with. Just to keep your energy up during the day, like you said, because it'll help you cognitive function as well, won't it? How are you going to do your job if you're starving? I'd be kicking off at people, me.
I know, I get really hungry.
I get so hungry, and it would only take somebody to ask me a question and I'd be like, what?
Yeah, you definitely need to get to that point.
Yeah, I carry snacks around in my pocket. So I would keep the snacks in the car so that you can have a little something before you get home, so that the first thing that you eat isn't like, oh, no, I can't stop.
Yeah, because it's like that food scale, isn't it? So you've got the hunger scale on 1 to 10. So you don't want to make yourself get to a 10 in the hunger scale, because then you're just going to go wild. You want to keep yourself in the middle range, and the way to do that is by having snacks and making sure you are eating throughout the day, because if you do get too far down that scale, you're just going to go wild.
That's a really good point, actually, Nicola. Talk us through the hunger scale.
So we've got the hunger scale from 1 to 10. Obviously, if you don't want to get yourself like to the point where you eat too much that you're so full as well. You want, when you're eating, you sort of want to be like, right, okay, I'm at like a 7 now, which is a good amount of full. Because yeah, you don't want to feel too sick, because then you might end up feeling, that guilt as well. But similarly, you don't want to be too hungry down the scale, because if you get to that point when you're too hungry, you're less likely to, have that rational thought with food. You're just gonna sort of go for it because you're famished basically.
Your chimp's gonna start eating. Have you read The Chimp Paradox?
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that book.
Yeah, the chimp is gonna take over at that point, and they're gonna eat whatever they want.
So just keeping yourself, in that moderate scale throughout the day, so you never get like, that too hungry.
Yeah. So this person needs to have something ready for when they get in the car, so that they're not starving when they get through the door, and then have something prepped and ready to go. Have a nice, nutritious, healthy tea that's going to satisfy you and fuel you back up. Like you
Definitely.
said, protein, fiber,
Yeah, and as well,
micronutrients.
looking at what else you could do when you relax when you get home. You might just want to, put
Yeah.
some music on and have a bit of a dance, or something else that can signal that switching to that relaxing time for you. Doesn't always have to
Yeah.
be food. It might be something else, just like putting your favorite song on, or whatever.
Or having a bath to wind down, or reading a couple of chapters of a book.
Yeah, that's a good one. Just something to switch you from that mode, isn't it? Like having a bath's a really good one.
And because I've been working from home as well now, a good tip is to try and work away from your living space. So try not to work in your bedroom or your living room. I know some people it's hard, but what you can do is at least shut the laptop at the end of the day.
Mhm.
When it gets to a certain point in the evening, I'll leave my phone on my work desk, and I don't look at the screen anymore, and that signals work's done. I can shut the door on it,
Yeah,
and then you're into a different space.
yeah, setting those boundaries as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good.
Fake commutes are also good, aren't they?
Yeah,
Break up your day.
yeah, definitely.
Get up and have a walk
Mhm.
around the block, and then start work. Finish work, walk back around the block, go
Yeah, yeah.
home.
Anything to break it up and just like change things up a bit.
Cool. So you mentioned to me last time we talked about self-worth, and we wanted to talk about that a little bit more and how we can accomplish that. What are your top tips?
So I think with self-worth, like a lot of people think, oh, what do I need to do, to love myself or to have that self-worth? And I think a lot of it is like realizing that you are worthy just as you are. And like all these other things you don't have to do. It's almost like sort of letting go of that conditioning that you need to be something. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Um, not,
absolutely.
not putting that, it's not having those negative thoughts. I'd like, oh, I've done this wrong, so that means I'm not worthy. Just realizing that you are a human being, and that if you, emotionally eat and binge one day, that doesn't affect your self-worth. Like you are worthy anyway. It doesn't matter. So
And
I
it's
think
that
that's
toxic word of should as well, isn't it? I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this.
the shoulds and musts, and a lot of those shoulds and musts are basically thoughts in your head that are from some other people. They're not your own thoughts. It's again about building that self-trust within yourself and setting those boundaries, and not thinking that I should be doing things because of someone else said that. And it's like, yeah, having that empowered within yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that can link back to what we take in and consume on social media as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. You don't want to be following people who are saying that you should be doing this and that, when that's actually not what your core beliefs are, and that's not what makes you happy. Like we all have different values, and you need to follow what makes you happy. I think that's like self-worth as well. Just making sure you're doing things within your day that make you happy and make you feel good.
And sometimes following a shredded girl who has pictures in a bikini on the beach, maybe that's inspiring, maybe,
Maybe
but
you.
ask yourself if it's making you feel bad, get rid of it.
Yeah, like really, I think it's important to like build that awareness and realize, like, even when you're like talking to certain people or watching something, check in with yourself, like, oh, I've just seen this picture, like how do I feel now, like, and noticing those feelings. If you are starting to feel bad about it, thinking, right, why is that, do I need to unfollow this account?
And write it down.
Oh, I love writing.
I was going to ask you if you journal.
Yeah, I journal every morning. I really got into it in lockdown. I literally journaled like for 3 months straight, and again, like I've created that habit now, and it is a really nice, empowering way to start your day, and it does like help with that self-worth as well.
Tell us what difference you felt from journaling for 3 months.
I don't know. Honestly, because it really sets like the intentions for the day as well. And I just feel like I've got so much more out of my day, and I'm starting my day on a much more positive note. I'm getting rid of things from my mind that might have like I used to carry with me throughout the day, and I might have thought about, and they might have drained my energy or just made me feel bad. It's sort of like started my day on just a much better foot, basically, and got all those things that I was worrying about kind of out already, so I can do
Yeah.
what I do.
If all the feelings that you are feeling are inside, if you try and repress them, they're going to stay inside, and at some point they're going to upset you. Whereas if you can get them out of your body and onto paper, you don't even have to tell anybody, just write it down, and suddenly you feel a relief or a release.
And like when you write things down, sometimes in your head these things sound true. I really like that quote, like thoughts are stories, not facts. But when you're thinking about them in your head, they do sound more true. But when you write them down, you're like, that's ridiculous. I can't believe I actually thinking about that.
Yeah, what is actual fact in this story that I have made up in my head? What do I actually know?
You're like, was I actually worried about that? That's a bit.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I got the high performance planner last year, and I filled it in at the start and end of every day. So I would write down, it's a diary, it's got every hour what I want to do in my time. So one, it helps me be more productive the next day and stop procrastinating and pissing about. And then it also asked me things like, who could I connect well with today, or what am I grateful for today? Name 3 things that I did well today. And when I got into the habit of doing that, it actually made me sleep better, because I was getting things out of my head and onto the page before I tried to go to sleep, and it just helped my brain switch off. And then, like I say, filling in the next day, who do I need to connect with? What can I do well today? And having my schedule helped me to be a lot more productive with my time.
Yeah, because I think, with sleep as well, if you are thinking about things, a lot of people do like lie awake thinking about things that they have no control over, but just getting them out onto paper can help. And
Absolutely.
like you said, doing my journal as well has like, what thing can I do to be kind today? And you don't realize how something like that can actually make you feel really good. And like writing down your gratitude list as well, it does just make you feel good. It's those little things, isn't it?
Puts you in a different space, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Like more of a mindset than a lack.
Yeah, exactly. So when Boris announced that we were going into a second lockdown, the first thing I said to my clients was, quick, name 3 things that you're grateful for right now, go. Because everyone straight away started going, oh God, I'm going to be stuck at home. Oh, the gym's going to be closed. I was going to be getting my hair cut. I was going to be doing this for Christmas. And straight away thinking about the things that were taken away. And of course, as humans, we are more drawn towards the negative. That's what we focus on. But if we can quickly go, 3 things that you're grateful for. Okay, I've got my health. I get to spend extra time with the people that I love, and I am going to take up a new hobby for which I have bought loads and loads and loads and loads of plants, Nicola. I am nurturing the shit out of them every day. They are my babies. It just puts you in a different space to then think about things. Well, can I cope with the gym being shut for 4 weeks? Yeah, of course I can. I can do something else. I'm not going to shrivel away and lose all my muscle. I can get out for walks.
My sort of thing, like with like I have this sort of like achieve balance sort of mantra, and I think when things are going like really shit, with the lockdown, you want to sort of create that balance in your mind as well. So usually what I do is, if we've got all the bad things with the lockdown, like write a list of all the good things that you could get from it to make that balance in your mind, so you're not in one extreme. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. That makes sense. And I also get weight loss clients to do that. I get them to write down the benefits of being overweight.
Yeah.
Of which there definitely are some benefits to you being overweight.
Like, you wouldn't do it otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, there's benefits to things, isn't it?
And until you've got more written down in your column of what benefits there are to losing weight, you're just not going to do it. So Completely agree. Write down your balance sheet and set until you've got more on the positive side, you're not going to do it.
Exactly, yeah, it's a good little technique.
Let's sum up the most important points today, because there's things that I really want people to take away. Is not all emotional eating is bad. Take a pause, breathe, and be mindful when you are eating.
Yeah, have that awareness.
Ask yourself, what feelings might you be eating?
Yeah, I like the little quote, feelings are feedback. So what are my feelings trying to tell me now?
Yeah, that's the same as Louise when we talked about periods. The symptoms are your guard dog. And if your guard dog doesn't bark, then you won't know if someone's trying to burgle your house, will you? So your feelings are your guard dog.
Yeah, they're always feedback. They're always trying to tell you something.
I like that. And write it all down. Write it all down. That's the big one all the time. Whenever I have any chats with therapists, counsellors, well-being coaches, write it down. Write it down is the big thing.
It just really helps you feel into that with emotional eating. Just helps you feel those feelings instead of numbing them as well. Just actually sitting with that feeling, getting it out.
It's awareness, isn't it? Awareness is key. Once you recognise something, you can do something about it.
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
that was a good chat.
I think just like, realizing that you can create those habits and you can make those changes yourself. It's like a CD, isn't it? Like if you keep scratching it, the song's not going to play anymore. So just creating those little habits and, creating a different song.
I like that. Create a different song for yourself.
Yeah.
So your CD doesn't skip.
Exactly.
Keep yourself running smoothly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Where can we find you?
So I am on Instagram mostly, Nicola Jane. I think it's got like 3 underscores after my name.
That's a marketing person's worst nightmare, isn't it?
I probably need to change my name on it. I will do at some point.
They'll be able to find you by searching Nicola Jane, won't they?
And I've got a website as well, nicolajanecoach.com, where you can ask questions about coaching with me as well.
Great, and I'll tag both of those in the show notes so that people can come and find you.
Sounds perfect.
Really nice one. Thank you very much, Nicola. I think that's going to help a lot of people, especially in lockdown.
Yeah, hopefully will.
Talk to you soon. Thank you. If you want to improve your well-being in a non-wanky way, you can join hundreds of other like-minded people in my monthly subscription group for live training sessions, daily workouts, nutrition tips, meditations, and more. Only $10 a month. Email me now, georgina@georginahalltraining.com. Thank you for listening to the Female Empowered podcast. If you want to hear more from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Female Empowered, where you can also get involved with our discussions, and feel free to send us a message.